I always send back 3 or 4 photos. I always go in and Google the area, and I give him the link of where I've Googled it. I give him the address and just answer their requests in a timely manner. I also, when a location scout or a producer calls me, I also email his office to check them out, just to make sure that there's some credit behind what they're asking as well. And if I know they've already checked with the film office, then I'm going to work a little bit harder too, because I already know they work with that community. So we start with Craig, and then we get the location managers will give you a call, and then the scouts will start coming in, and then your producer will come in, then the crew comes in, then your film comes in, they hire extras in your community, and then the tourists come. So there's the whole circle. And guess what? That's economic development for your community in the purest sense. I'm getting more from these film productions than I have from any group tour that I've scheduled in the last few years, because it is a full circle and full gambit too. Some of the movies we had before this were Driving Miss Daisy, Get Low, Zombieland. We had the TV series October Road. We still get calls, and we have an itinerary sheet for tourists when they come back into the community that they like to go see where these films were, the TV productions were. And we're even making a brochure for our county that lists everything, so that'll make that easier on the tourist when they come in as well. Since we were added as a camera-ready community, we've had 4 films in the county since October. Wettest County is there now, and not only are they filming there, they actually put their office in the county, which we went to the county commission meeting with them. They took a school that was closed, and they've turned it into their headquarters. Which my goal now is, when they're done, wow, we've already got the groundwork laid out for the next group maybe that will come in, and maybe there's another opportunity to, as a community as well, to have them. So we've learned about the 30-mile radius. We had Joyful Noise. They came in and they filmed one of the homes in the area, and then we shared them with Peachtree City. They were the next stop after they left us. Odd Life with Timothy Green was in last week and filmed in one of the homes, and then Mississippi Wild is in now, putting all of their locations together. And then just last week, 3 scouts called, so they will be coming in. When they come into the visitor center, the first thing that we do is give them an information packet. We give them every brochure that we have on the community. We give them 3 or 4 maps of the community, and the first thing that you'll need is your contact sheet. And on that sheet I have all of my city council meetings, the dates, and I have the city clerks. I have the person or liaison they need to file with to get on the meeting agenda, and then I have the sheriff's department has given me a contact of who they need to call for off-duty. So that contact sheet is really, other than locations, that contact sheet is important for them. And I've got that where I'll email them. I emailed it to Maida last week, just so they know what the steps are in your county. And part of the process was submitting your forms that you need. And that's nice that it's online, but they're wanting it again when they're standing there in the office with you. Trey and I have been with 3 of the productions to city council meeting and a county commission meeting, just to show them that they are working with the county liaison. We do have a one-stop shopping now in the community, and that really has gone well with the location scouts, the producers, and the community. And then everything that we do, we've been putting on Facebook, on the web, and in the newspaper, and the whole community has bought in on this. They bring me photos now. I've got an antique car collection photo for you now, and I've got, you know, farms and homes. We had Vivian Lee's granddaughter in not long ago that they did a photo shoot. So, and that's the fun part for us. We provide the information. That's what we do already, and then we step back and let the crews come in. We're there for a phone call for any wrinkle. I even had to find a helicopter for one of the groups. So you have to make, and another thing too, and I'll jump in after that with everyone else, but another thing too is just to be that phone call away. If, you know, a lot of our counties or cities, they need to have the permits, and they check on the zoning. Well, with having a liaison in the community, which is you, I go ahead and call ahead, and I tell everyone we've got right now Wetis County. They're checking on permits. It's just temporary. Is there a fee involved? Quite often they'll say, you know, no, we understand. Thanks for letting us know. They do need a lot of parking areas, and we'll call ahead, and we have a list of parking, and you know, you don't always know what they're asking, so you have to be quick on the draw. We'll do our research, put in a paper, letter, contact sheet format, and then we've got it ready when the location or the producer managers come. So, but it's been a great experience so far.
Thank you. That's a great story.
Could you explain some of the things that Sonoya has done to acclimate itself toward the industry? Like you said, the big Sonoya town is kind of geared up.
Yeah, my Sonoy is like the best treasure in the state. We have a movie studio there, and that team has come in and revitalized that entire community. They've put some infill buildings in. They've put, we had the Southern Living Idea House there this year, which helped because they're building like apartment life setting where the back streets are their back lots. So they're like setting up their whole town to be film ready in itself, which has been, I know, a lot of help on the film industry level. Because not only, I mean, they're on the National Register, they have the historic homes. Fried Green Tomatoes was filmed there. That's probably our #1 draw back to there. Pet Cemetery. So the whole downtown, the antique stores, the restaurants, I mean, just that whole community is geared. And it's in that 30-mile zone from the airport, which happens to be one of my attractions. I don't have a full-service hotel in my community. One of the first things I had to get over is that the actors would probably never stay there. I can get them to my neighbor, Peachtree City, because they're right next door and they do have a full service. But most of them, if they don't go to Peachtree City, they will go back to Atlanta. And I had to just, I mean, I was like, the actors, you know, to me that was like part of it. But they want that full service hotel. So if you don't have that in the community, search one out, like we did with Peachtree City, and send them there. And it is part of sharing. With Wetis County, we had to be like the Appalachian Mountains. And we're still part of the Atlanta metro area. However, we're still very rural, but parts of us were still very polished. Sorry, Sheila, but we had to move out to maybe a not so polished, still a mountain look area. I was very happy to pick up the phone. I sent them to Sheila in Meriwether County, and they're using the bridge there in several locations. So it isn't all about me. It's all about us working together to share that load, because we all, you know, are just part of the state, and that helps make it work.
Wallace is reminded.
My feelings are not hurt, by the way. My feelings are not hurt at all. It's been a good thing.
Wallace was just talking, I have a brief camera-ready story before there was a camera-ready program. Because a year or so ago, I was involved with an HBO project, which actually never, sometimes this happens, we're hot and heavy on a project, and then it just goes away for reasons we don't quite understand. Maybe it comes back, maybe it doesn't. It's like any other kind of industry, you know, sometimes it stalls or something along the way postpones it. But this particular project, which didn't happen, but it was a nice project. It was about it was a period piece about FDR in his run through Texas. So they needed Texas planes. It was similar to this Iowa project of the Crazies. We needed those wide open looks and period towns, period hotels, things like that. And of course, that you're going to find that sort of in that line, the fault line from Macon below. That's typically where the land flattens out. And I had a scout with them, and I only had, and this is what typically happens, I only had a few days with them. We had to cover an extreme amount of territory, which means that we had to use a helicopter. And adding on to that is that the director was an elderly man who couldn't walk very far. So whatever locations I was showing to him, we basically had to land there at the door. And he walks a few feet and says, I like it, I don't, get back in the helicopter, fly away. Well, so I made a map of all these towns in mid to south Georgia. I don't know if anyone was involved in that and remembers, but I called up who are now going to be the camera-ready liaisons in these communities and I told them the situation. I said, I need to know where in the middle of your town I can land a helicopter and show this guy this location and leave again. And we mapped it all out, and I had people in like in Parrott, Americus, I think in Plains, a bunch of other places where the local person cleared it with the police and everything else. And I tried to time it as best I could and said, at this time of day, you're going to see a helicopter descend. It's going to be me, and don't worry about it. And then we're going to get out and we're going to look. And we did that. I mean, it sounds crazy, but that's how. And that was when one of those places you set me up. And not only did they show us around, but they had lunch waiting for us. Now, I'm not saying that you have to do that, but it was one of these things where they were all. They were kind of stunned, actually, with that, and then